Hello. On today's episode of Brian's Room, I'm going to be talking about
the Beatles, my guy.
She loves you, yeah. She loves you, yeah. No, like that. No.
All right, I had to get them out of here. As they said, today's episode is going to be about the Beatles, in particular, the official announcement of the last Beatles song, Now and Then, and the reissues of the expanded and remixed Red and Blue albums, in particular the first volume, 1962 to 1966, and the second volume, 1967 to 1970. First, I want to get the reissues out of the way. I'm of two minds about this reissue. On one hand, my attitude, and I'm starting to sound like the typical grumpy Beatle fan that I don't want to be. You know, why do we need another Red and Blue album? Do we really need another Red and Blue album? Why? But on the other side, to me, the Blue album is very important in my Beatles education. So is the Red album. Here's my copies of the Blue. And these are original US Apple. And I actually got this one at the Fest for Beatle fans. This was sealed until I opened it. So this was totally sealed. So part of me is excited. And honestly, if you are a casual Beatle fan, I would say the Red and Blue compilations are a much worthier compilation than the One compilation. The One compilation did introduce the Gen Zers or millennials or Gen Y, whatever you want to call the generation after mine, after Gen X. Introduce them to the Beatles, but it's only the number one hits. And at the time, the One collection was sort of tying the Beatles into the trend of boy bands from the time. And I have a bunch there's a couple of people who are friends of mine who don't like the Beatles and are just diehard Stones fans. And, you know, I love the Stones too. But my argument is they all were boy bands. The Stones appeared in teen magazines just as much as the Beatles did. But getting back to the One collection, it was just the number one hits on both sides of the Atlantic. It really doesn't delve into, the experimentation and every single aspect of the Beatles throughout that decade. And I think with the two expanded volumes of this set, for the casual fan, it will give you that because there's now a lot more tracks here. I mean, the original album of 1962 to 1966 ends with Yellow Submarine. Now it's going to end with Tomorrow Never Knows, which is a clear indication of where we're going to go in the next volume. I, for one, am excited to hear some of the newer mixes of the early stuff, or in particular, 1967, I Am the Walrus. I want to hear the Magical Mystery Tour stuff. And on this set will be the first new Beatles song since Free as a Bird and Real Love in 2005. 1995. Not 2005. Boy, it seems like yesterday. Since both of those premiered on the episodes of the Beatles Anthology. With the third one that was given, Now and Then, which they started to work on, but they weren't able to finish for a wide variety of reasons. I, for one, am excited about Now and Then. I like everything that I'm reading about this and hearing about this. I know that Olivia said George was unsatisfied with the technology at the time to really get John's voice the way it is. However, according to Paul, George just didn't like the song and was sort of put off by John's songwriting in later years. Who knows the truth? George isn't here himself to talk about this. I, for one, was not one of those people who were down on Free as a Bird and Real Love when they came out. And here is my original. But everything else that I'm hearing on here about the track is getting me moved. I heard Paul did a slide guitar solo that was in the style of George. George is there on rhythm guitar from the initial sessions. And I know Paul always wanted to finish this off. And originally in the documentary about Jeff Lynne, Paul says that he wanted to get with Jeff Lynne and finish it off. Here they chose Giles Martin, which kind of makes sense since Giles has been working with them and is sort of in the Beatles family, so to speak. And there's going to be a video of this, a 12-minute or 20-minute video about the project that's going to be on the Beatles YouTube channel. This is going to be the final Beatles song. Is it virtual? Yes. But all this stuff about AI and all that, it still confirmed it was done to enhance John's original demo track. It sounds like it was extremely emotional for everybody involved. So I'm excited. I think this is very good news, very bittersweet news, because we're not going to get any sort of new songs. Put it like this, unless we get an official release of Carnival of Light, which I know Beatle fans want, but drop me a line to let me know what you think about this set. I will say, before I go here, that I am again upset that there's no Blu-ray audio of this. The spatial audio mix of the Red and Blue albums with Dolby Atmos is only going to be, again, available for streaming. But other than that, I'm happy or satisfied. And I'm excited for the casual fan who will be able to finally get a well-rounded overview of these guys with these 2 expanded editions of these sets. So that's it today from my room, and talk to you soon.